Hey everyone, today we're going to show you how to use SUMIFS function in Excel. And SUMIFS function, if you know how to use them, can be a very powerful tool to help analyze data, look at specific criteria, and pull the data. I'm going to walk through that quickly today and show you exactly how to do that and how easy it can be. So today I have some dummy sales data that we're going to use in the table here to be able to demonstrate the SUMIFS function. There's a couple ways we can go about doing this. We're going to look for, in this example, gross sales, which we have in the column G here. And there's several other criteria like segment, country, product, and so on and so forth that we can use to identify the data that we're looking for. So to use a SUMIFS function, we're just going to enter equals SUMIFS. And SUMIF opposed to SUMIF. SUMIFS means that there's going to be multiple criteria opposed to just one criteria. So equals SUMIFS. Then we're going to hit tab. Sum range, as you can see here in this equation, as it pops up, is the column or the data that you want to be summed. So I'm going to select the top of the gross sales because that's what we're going to try and sum and find our sales through this exercise. Then I'm going to hit Control Shift down arrow, and it's going to select that entire column. Then if I hit a comma, it will give us our next, it will ask for our next criteria here. So the next one is criteria range. So the next thing we need to know is what's the next criteria? What is it that we want to know in terms of looking for gross sales? So if we want to know gross sales by country, the next thing we could do is select the criteria range. This would be the range of data, the column of data in which we want to identify the country that we're going to try and sum the sales data. So again, Control Shift down arrow, it will select all the information. We'll hit comma, and then that will move on to our next data we need to input, and that's criteria. So there's a couple things we can do. We can enter quotation marks here. I'm going to expand this out to make it a little easier to see. Quotation marks, and then we could either write in France is what we're looking for, and then comma, and then next let's say criteria, because we're looking for more than one criteria with the SUMIFS, we're going to look at the product name. So it's asking for the criteria range. So criteria range 2 would be our product range. So we're going to again click on the product range, Control Shift down arrow. It's going to select all of our data. We'll hit comma there, and then criteria 2. So what is the next criteria? Let's say as we have all these products, let's say we really want to know what our Aspen products sold in France. We're just going to hit another quotation mark. So because it's specific text that I was looking for, we need to do quotation marks. And we'll show you another way to make this a little bit easier in just a second. And let's say those are the only two criteria we want to look for. So then we'll hit close parentheses, and then we'll hit enter. So we know that in France, the Aspen product has had gross sales of $4.3 million over the lifespan or course of the data that we have here. So that's great. Something that you could do, we manually enter that. So that's like one manual way to do that. Like if we wanted to filter different countries and look at different products, we can do that. So what we're going to do is actually, I'm going to adjust this. So rather than search for France, what we want to do is I'm going to delete that out of there and then just click in the country in this table just to help myself stay organized. And then instead of entering Aspen, I'm going to delete that and select the product there and then hit enter. So obviously it's giving us 0 because we don't have any criteria selected. So if we wanted to do in this table, we could just hit France and then the product would be Aspen, and that's going to generate 4.3 million in sales. So that's showing us exactly what we need or what we'd have based on those two criteria. Let's say we wanted to look at Germany, and let's say Aspen as well. Then what we could do here is, now that we have that in there, we could just click on this gross sales. We have our formula here. And for us to just drag it down, it will copy the data. Because it's a table, under country, under financials, this is our criteria 1. It has the country saved. If this was just a data set, you'd need to do absolute values to make sure that you could copy and paste it down. Same with financials and products, because again, because it's a table and it's labeled columns, we don't need to do that. What we can just do is just click and drag this down, and it's going to give us our data for Germany and for Aspen. So it's summing those gross sales. So we're able to do that. And then we could say, let's look at Mexico, for example. And let's say we want to look at another example, birch or pine. So let's do birch, and we can drag this data down as well. So we can see 3.1 million there as well. So again, like if you wanted to, it's really useful to look and compare different products. So we could do France. Let's say we wanted to compare aspen, well, to birch to pine, and we can see our pine product has been our best seller in that year in the country of France. Let's say we wanted to add year as well. All we'd have to do to our formula is come in, we could just delete the close parentheses, add a comma, and then it's going to ask us for a third criteria range. So let's say we wanted the year column. We just click that top cell, Control Shift down arrow, comma, and then it's going to ask for criteria 3. So what is the criteria we're looking for? So we'll just do kind of what we've been doing previously, and click on that cell there. We could do quotation marks and then a specific year, but we'll just do this to make it easier on ourselves. And then we're going to do a close parentheses, hit enter, and because there's no criteria there, we won't know until we actually enter something. So we'll hit 2013. We can see that there's only 745K in sales that year. And then because we've added this, we'd need to drag the formula down again. And then let's say we wanted to look and compare to 2014 in that same Aspen product. So we can see year over year, we've had huge sales increase. So yeah, if you wanted to look at pine as well for 2014, you can do that. You can still see that pine is a bestseller there. And so you can go in and tinker with this and look at different criteria and be able to quickly and easily decipher the data to sum up exactly what you're looking for. So again, it can be very helpful, very useful in data analysis with Excel. And so please let me know if you have any other questions around SUMIFS, and I'd love to answer any questions. So please drop a comment below and subscribe to the Excel guy. Thanks.